And we are live. I do believe we are live. Holy shit. Is anything still working? It's been forever and a day since the last time I was live. And as expected, I don't think anybody's here, which is as it should be. As it should be. I should actually double check and make sure that all my settings are correct because it took me several false starts to get around to actually streaming today due to the fact that, hey, Arbalest, what year? 2025 or 1947? I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. Hey, Ken Doyle, welcome in. All right, cool. Good to know I'm not alone here. Hi, folks. So for those of you who haven't been keeping an eye on my socials, I should, try and keep. There we go. See, I'm remembering to hit the buttons and everything. I am able to do things. For those of you who haven't been on my socials, I haven't been around for a bit, and even today, here I am streaming at an odd hour, and it's not going to be a long stream. I've been trying something. I'm experimenting a little bit because, good news, I got the job. I am now a gainfully employed member of society once again, which is great for those of you out there who were wondering if I was going to be homeless in the next few weeks. Those of you who were betting against me, suck it. Suck it hard, suck it long, suck it. So anyway, I got a job. It's a good job. I hope it's a good job. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Esme has food. That's really the most important thing. She will not have to resort to eating me because I will starve long before she does. I will starve. I will pass away, and then she will eat my corpse, as chronicled in the every day a little bit closer to autobiographical game Cats and Corpses, available at no reputable booksellers anywhere. Anyway, I actually start that job next Monday. So this is my last week of not being a useful member of society, I guess. And so I'm trying to do two things. One is just enjoying my time off. What's the job? Well, I'm glad you asked, my friend. It is. I'm not gonna dox myself, right? I'm not going to announce my official employer. But it is a small, like less than 40 employees, local MSP. That's a managed service provider, basically an IT company. We're an IT company located in Midtown Manhattan, and that's my bread and butter, right? That's what I've been doing for the past 15 plus years, just IT in general. And this one is what I liked about them, what kind of got my attention, is that these folks have been around for about 25 years, and yet they're still only about, they've just recently, like this year, are just now getting to like just barely 40 employees. So it's very slow, steady growth, but they've been around. They do not have a sales department, which that alone, I was like, all right, cool, I'm in, I'm down. No sales department. It is, all their clients are word of mouth and some acquisitions. They have sort of acquired a couple of smaller IT shops over the years, but it's word of mouth. And like, they do not have a sales department. They do not have a group of hungry salespeople trying to constantly onboard new clients and trying to constantly like get new projects going and whatnot. Hey, Phoenix, welcome in, friend. Welcome in. Good to see you. I know it's an odd time for me to be online, but here I am. Anyway, point is, I have a job now, or at least I've got some papers to submit for tomorrow. My first day is on Monday. I'm excited for that. But it's a 9 to 5, right? It's a 9 to 5. So I'm not going to be able to keep up the previous streaming schedule because, no. So this is my experiment. I'm trying to figure out if I can do some streaming in the evenings and how often. So it's going to be less streaming. It's going to be less often. I think I might actually just have to do it twice a week, because now a lot of the time that I used to have during the day for other stuff, it's, gainful employment is gainful employment, right? So that's 40 hours a week that have to be dedicated to that, which means that I do not have. How many hours a week was I streaming before? At least like nearly 20, right? Easy. 20 hours a week between one thing and another. On average, probably closer to 16, but still, I don't have that much time, right? Because I also, everything else I do, do, right? You know, clean the house, make dinner, take care of myself, pet the cat, watch shows, watch anime, so much anime. Oh my god. And occasionally, this tabletop RPG bullshit, you know? So I think that the most I can commitment issues. The most I can probably commit to for the foreseeable future until, you know, we see how things shake out and what my energy levels are after work and how I'm able to manage and juggle everything, is probably just streaming twice a week for like 2 hours. Like, that's probably like what I can manage. So I'm thinking, this one started late. I was supposed to start at 7:30, and then just everything exploded at once, and the computer had updates, and nothing was working. And anyway, everything's working now. Here I am. But so I'm thinking Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7:30 to 9:30 is what I'm thinking. We'll see how that much shorter schedule works and what we can get away with. But also, it might mean, I mean, this is not going to be a good example. This is going to be a very ranty one, because the thing that stream is titled for today is in fact probably not going to happen, because I just realized after starting the stream and titling the stream that I actually don't have access to the documents, to the DC20 0.9 rule set, because apparently they never properly added me to a certain list so I can get them from DriveThruRPG. But I did get access to the DC20 Foundry virtual tabletop thing, so I'm thinking I might be able to at least take a look at that today. But anyway, point is, maybe, being forced to do shorter streams might keep me a little bit more focused, right? And we get a little bit more done. We'll see. Also, just the nature of the streams might be. If I have less energy, I might just do something more casual. We'll see what this all turns into, and if maybe once I'm properly established and I'm certain about like what my everything looks like with the new world order, if you will, you know, then I am open to doing more. We'll see. As for the games that I'm offering to run, the ones that are still being offered on Start Playing are still there. I'm not taking them down, but I also, because the times that they are scheduled for are times during which, on an average day, I should certainly be home by 7:30. All right, it is a about 30 to 40 minute commute to the new job. Which is here in Manhattan. It's like, you know, it's a short commute. Trust me on this. It's a short commute for Manhattan for having to take the trains and all that. So I'm thinking, yeah, I should be like, I'm assuming I'm gonna be home by like 6:30 most days. So a 7:30 game is probably something I can run, but also again, I'm actually probably going to let those time out. Just, you know, if people hire me, hey, I'll take it. I could always use the extra money. Speaking of money, the job pays, the pay, well, I don't know what it pays yet. I haven't gotten a single paycheck yet, of course, but actually, I know what it's going to pay, right? With what I agreed to, which is good, you know, good money. It's not as much as I was making before, but I was already kind of resigned to that. I knew I wasn't going to get signed for as much as I had been making before. But I was prepared to live with a lot less. So the offer they made me is good. For my purposes, with my levels of non-debt and everything else, yeah, I'm folks, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be absolutely fine. In fact, you know, hopefully some of that money that's going to be coming in, I can inject into all of this, right? And maybe not having the constant crushing weight of watching my bank balance go down every month more and more with no money coming in for months and months and months on end, and knowing that there is a date after which, if something doesn't change, I will be on the streets and homeless. Yeah, that's less of a worry now. And when you don't have that kind of crushing you down, sometimes it leads to better things, right? It can, the starving artist thing is bullshit. When I'm starving, I'm worried about starvation. I'm not worried about creating art. If anything, boredom leads to creativity, I think. And so, if I can start getting bored, it would be nice. It would be nice to be bored, I think, for a bit. And let me tell you something, folks. I think this job just might be boring, but in a good way. Here's so I clearly have not taken my meds today because I've been saving them for when I start work. By the way, I don't think I've said this on stream because I don't think I've streamed since I started taking my meds. But long story short, certain friends who will remain unnamed were kind enough, from the goodness of their hearts, they were kind enough to donate to me Adderall, ADHD meds, right? That they were no longer using, or because they had switched to different meds. And so they were like, "Hey Dan, here. I know you're going through a rough time. This sucks. Here." I sincerely believe, had I not had those meds, I would not be employed today right now. I was able to lock down and focus on the job hunt in ways that I had not been able to do for months. The meds helped with focusing during interviews, for making sure I had all my ducks in a row, had all my documents, had everything. It sucks in a way to kind of relatable. It sucks in a way to literally see how months and months and months of no medications, no progress, literally within 2 weeks of getting medicated, my life is turning around. I have a new job that looks good and that I like. And look, some of that is pure coincidence, all right? It's not like this job existed 3 months ago or anything, right? Who knows what would have happened 3 months ago, what kind of job I would have or wouldn't have gotten, if at all, right? I know some of this is pure coincidence, but god damn the timing on this, right? Because I was like, all right, I need the medication to lock in and focus and be able to just do the job hunt. I need to do this. And it helped. And even then for the interviews, I noticed that being medicated helped with the anxiety of the interview process. It was just, it really made a difference. So yes, some of it, as you say, Arbalest, some of it is definitely serendipity. Some of it is definitely just the timing of it. Because again, so this company, as I would say, they don't have a sales department. It's all word of mouth. And all their clients are small mom and pop shops, nonprofits, museums and art galleries. Like, that's their clientele. It's these small businesses spread throughout Manhattan, the various boroughs. Not giant financial companies, not startups, not hedge funds, not Wall Street. This is what I want. Get me some mom and pop shop with a Windows 2012 server in the back that just needs to get patched. Give me an employee who can't print. Give me the little old lady in the back who can't find the any key. Yes, I can do all of that with my eyes closed. And look, we'll get to the tabletop RPG stuff at some point. All right, I might as well. I haven't talked to people in ages, and y'all are here. So hey. I mean, I have talked to my friends and stuff, like, I told them the good news and all that stuff. But You know, I miss this. I miss staring into the cold black eye of the camera and feeling seen. Anyway, company looks good, right? Clientele looks decent. The vibes were very good during all three interviews. The first interview was supposed to be a group interview, and then I was the only one that showed up. There's supposed to be 3 guys, including me, so 2 other guys. Out of the 3, I was the only one that showed up for the call. So right out the gate, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the pack. And that interview went very well, you know, because already I had some brownie points. And Jesus Christ, people just don't. That's the thing, folks. My experience, and again, this is one data point. My experience is not exemplary of everybody's experience. Clearly. That said, holy shit. There are no jobs out there, right? There are very few jobs. It is hard to find jobs. There's a lot of ghost jobs. There's a lot of just bullshit. There's a lot of companies that post jobs just to show that they posted it, but they already had somebody in mind, etc., etc. It is hard. It is hard out there for a pimp. All right. So with that in mind, it is apparently also just some bullshit on both sides right now. Absolute bullshit on both sides, and I'll explain why as I tell you the tale. All right, so that first call, right? I'm the only one that shows up, so already like there's at least 2 other guys who couldn't even be bothered to show up to the call, so that call goes very well. I talked to this guy it was like a call not really with a recruiter, it was like the company's recruiter, not a third party one. One of the things at some point he does this thing that's because clearly it was supposed to be a group call. So he's like, all right, I'm going to put some questions on the chat. This was a Zoom call. And I want you to type in your answers to the question. Just submit them on the chat. And I was like, it's just us. You want me to just tell you my answers? So he's like, nah, I need you to go ahead and type them in the chat. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, no worries. So you're just gonna kind of sit there and watch me type? He's like, yeah, I guess so. Like, all right, no worries. So the questions were, I don't remember them exactly, but they specifically were about ticket priority. In IT, your IT tickets will have different levels of priority, right? Depending on whether it affects one user, multiple users, if it's a single service that's down, if it's everybody's down, etc., etc. Right? There are different levels of priority, and you got to be able. One of your skills has to be able to look at the ticket description and determine that level of priority. And so the questions that they asked, there were 3 questions that were all about that, and they gave you a generally open-ended situation, like this has been reported, and you're supposed to just basically say whether this should be a regular ticket or an escalated ticket, right? And that's it. So really it is just one of 2 answers. And so I get all 3 questions and I go for, but all of them are at the same time. Like there's a definite answer, right? They are kind of yes or no questions. Either it's this or it's that. But the situations that were presented were required some level of judgment call. Like they weren't clear cut, right? And so in all 3, I go like, well, at first glance, this ticket appears to be this kind, but one should take into account blah, blah, blah. Or this ticket at first glance appears to be this, but I would classify it as this because of this other detail. Or I would classify it as a ticket, but I would place a note to it to make sure that this is not blah, 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 blah. And boom, I submit my answers. And the guy just kind of like leans back and goes like, I gotta tell you, out of all the people that we have done these interviews for and that I presented for, you are one of maybe only 2 that has bothered to give me more than a one-word response on these questions. Hey, Hawkeye! Welcome in, friend. Welcome in. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Hope you're having an absolutely awesome evening, friend. I know it's been a while since I've been around. I'm just telling the story of why that's been changing, because I now have a job, gainfully employed. Good news for you, because that means I'm going to have money coming in, and that means I'll probably actually finally be able to afford one of those screens. So hopefully, hopefully that's going to happen sooner rather than later, because I'm actually going to have money coming in. But so good news for you as well. I've been sick for well, I hope you're feeling better, friend. Hope you're feeling better. Hope the sickness goes away. There's enough going on in the goddamn world without us getting sick on top of it all. Just finished one and shipped it out, so your doctor's free. Cool, dope. Again, the job starts on Monday, so let me get a couple paychecks under my belt. But it's gonna happen. God damn it, it's gonna happen now that there will be money. But anyway, so that first interview, you know, I got really good feedback from, you know, just during the interview, because I rock and am awesome, and 15 minutes after that interview is over, I get the email going like, hey, we would like to move you to the second round of interviews with us. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna assume that them moving fast is a good sign. So that interview happened. The first interview happened on a Friday, and then they gave me either, hey, you know, we'd like to move ahead quickly, second chat, we can put you either Monday or Wednesday of next week, and it was like Friday afternoon. And I was like, let's go, let's move. I'm available. Let's do Monday. So Monday afternoon, I had my second interview with them. The second interview was a technical interview, and it was a little bit more in depth, right? Talking a lot more about my skills and asking me questions, technical questions about, you know, what I know in the areas they want. Then I'm knocking them all out of the park. There were a couple where like I didn't remember the specific terminology or the specific acronym or whatever of something, but I would go like what we're trying to do here is XYZ. Like I would explain, I would clearly show that I understood the concept and I knew what I was talking about. I was just blanking on that specific word. I was like, in the real world, it doesn't matter that you know the real world it matters that you know how to do the thing, and also you have Google. Right? So, and yes, fast movement is always, no, it was definitely a good sign in this case, because again, I got the job, right? So that second interview again goes very well. The vibes are very good. I basically knock all their questions out of the park. We have some good conversations. And when that call ends, literally five. I could show you. I could show you the timestamp on the email. 5 minutes after that call ends, going like, I get the going, hey, we would like to move you to our third round, which is a practical, which will be here at the office. And if that, if all goes well, then the final round would be to talk with our CEO. And again, fast, literally 5 minutes after that, it's like, boy, I hope they don't take too long, to send me, if they decided to move me along. I felt good about the call, but I was like, oh, maybe if they had somebody else, like, no, 5 minutes, boom, I get that. And they're like, they want to see me on Friday. And so Friday comes along. That was this past Friday. So just a few days ago, comes along. I show up at the office, all dressed up, nice and nifty, and first hour of the thing is kind of, again, your classic interview with, again, just some of the higher ups in the company. And then I basically have to role play. I basically have to pretend. One of them pretends to be a client. They have set up a situation for me. And I have to basically role play as I am arriving at a client office I was given this set of information, and I have to help the client resolve the issue. So I sat down and I did my thing. And look, folks, I'm good at what I do. Going to a client's office and fixing some random bullshit is what I do. It's what I've done my entire goddamn career. All right, I am a goddamn professional, and I saw where they tried to trip me up. But it was overall a pretty standard problem. It was a bit of an unusual situation, but standard set of problems that came with that situation, and I was able to basically knock it all out in the space of an hour, documented it all as I went. There was one point where I kind of called back into the office to confirm something. They were very happy about that. Apparently not a lot of people actually, because they tell you at the beginning of the thing, like, hey, you are acting as one of our technicians, so if there's anything, you are not alone. Like, if at any point you kind of have a lifeline kind of situation, right, which you are not penalized for because it is part of your team. We want to see if you get to a point and you need assistance, just basically say, I'm calling the office, and I will shift roles, and I will be a technician here at the office who you can consult with. And so at one point I did that, and I asked them just a quick question, like, hey, can you tell me about these permissions that should be on the server? And he did that, no problem. Point is, everything was resolved, and at the end of that sort of little role-playing session, I'm talking to the guy, and we're kind of discussing how I approach the various points. He has some comments, all basically good. In fact, if anything, he was like, there was this one part where I had to deal with some permissions on some file shares, and I locked that shit down because that's what I do. Best practices. And for a business setting, you lock that shit down. You set up permissions groups. You set up permissions groups to read write, to full control / modify. You confirm with the client again which specific rights these users should have, which users should have rights to which one. I set those up. I set the users in the specific groups. Then I went in, not just on the sharing permissions, but on the actual file permissions, made sure those permissions matched there as well. Cleared out some default permissions that were in, so they were properly locked down, so that only the people who needed to have access to the stuff had access to the stuff, because these were HR shares and finance shares, right? So important. So I did that, and I took a couple minutes. I know what I'm doing, so I do the thing. And so in the post game, if you will, he's like, and when with the security thing, if anything, you did almost too good a job. And you're like, oh, it's like, no, not a criticism. It's just that the expectations from our side were just that you would open the shares and set up the basic, just the read write permissions, which was where a little bit of the trap was. There was some default permissions that had been set that were inheriting, that if you weren't careful, they would kind of like break things. But I caught them, and they were like, yeah, most people just they just open the shares and make sure that the 3 users have access, and that's it. The fact that you took the extra steps, set the extra groups, and also like informed the quote-unquote the client of what was happening in very simple terms, just so they knew what was up, and they were very impressed with that. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, that's the background that I come from. Is a little bit more sort of high-end security, so I tend to approach things from a more of a industry best practices kind of approach, and also just it's not that hard. It's not that hard to do this, to do things right the first time. And so while we're talking, I see that he's like looking off at his laptop and just tap, 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 and then looks back to me. Then I hear the little Slack symbol, the little Slack chime. They use Slack there, so I guess I use Slack now. And then he would like turn the window and go tap, 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 and then turns back to me and say something else. And I was like, all right, yeah, fine. He's probably answers to some messages or anything. And he goes like, well, Dan, this was great. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. So they're probably going to have to take some time to think now, right? He says, this was great. And I've got the CEO here. She's going to join on Zoom, and she would just like to talk to you. And it says something, I think, about the PTSD of the corporate life that my first instinct, I haven't even been hired yet, and my first instinct when being told that the CEO wants to talk to me was, oh shit, am I in trouble? Let's see, Slack is met, but I get what they use because it's that or Discord. I mean, it's that or like, Microsoft Teams is the other choice, and all these messengers are, I guess at least it's not WhatsApp. I'm just happy it's not WhatsApp. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it was the CEO who just joined on Zoom, and she was like, hey, I've been in communication with the team throughout the interview process. They have been super very impressed with you, and at this point we'd like to offer you a place on our team. So like right there, like interview technically wasn't even over, and the CEO like hopped in to basically offer me the job, and we negotiated everything right there. We worked out as I said before, a very decent salary. It is not as much as I was making before, but it is more than enough for me to be. I am fine. All right, I am gonna be fine. Do not worry, ladies and gentlemen, about old Dan. Old Dan, oh, he's gonna be fine. It is more than enough to keep me going, keep me fed, keep me happy. Let me start rebuilding my savings and probably start thinking about cons and stuff again, which makes it an extra damn shame that Big Bad Con isn't happening this year. But I don't wait. Did ads happen? And yeah, probably. I haven't been paying attention to the ad screen. I don't know if ads happened or not. No, ad starts in 25 minutes. I don't know. Anyway, so point is all that, and then they had to do a background check, which I was not worried about because background checks are background checks, and I've had them dozens of times for these jobs. It's fine. Literally, one day later, they were like, "Hey, everything came through fine. Here's all the extra paperwork. Just get it to us by Wednesday, and we will see you on Monday." So as of the 24th, I start working, and then money will be coming in, and I will be able to pay rent. And that's how the world works, I guess. So with that in mind, that's the good news, the good story. It is. Oh, so here's the. Let me. I'm trying to see like where I left off. Here's two things, right? One is, I had been looking for the job low-key for months before this, high-key for about this past month, super high-key like these past 2 weeks, which is why I haven't been streaming. But when it happened, holy shit, it happened fast, right? Because I applied for that job on a Thursday. Later that same Thursday, got the invite for the group call for Friday. Friday had the group call that ended up just being me, which led to second interview next Monday. Then Monday, Friday, job offer. So like in literally the space of 1 week, I went from have never heard of these people to I am now employed by these people. Which has not been my experience with almost any other job I've had, and I'm very pleased that it went very quick. And again, the vibes are very good with this company. I do not dream of labor, but as potential employers go, they seem pretty decent. I like what they're doing. I like the customer base. I like just the vibe of the people that I've met. So yeah, good stuff. But at the same time, like I'm getting this like the fact that group call was supposed to be 3 people and I'm the only one that showed up. After the interview, there were a lot of questions that they asked me in both the technical interview and in the practical one, where later they told me after the interview was over, they said, yeah, a lot of those questions that we asked you, like we clearly saw that you knew what you were talking about. We've had so many guys come into these interviews and they will like rattle off all the terms and raid 0, raid 5, raid 10, raid this and that, and you ask them what does that actually mean? What does that do? What can you do with that? What do you do when that breaks? And they would just kind of go blank on you. Like they had clearly just memorized the terms that were on the job interview like listing. If the job interview said that you need to have like A+ in networking, then during the interview, oh yeah, I'm fully A+ certified and experienced in networking. All right, cool. So give me an example of when you did you've done what networking work have you done? Set up networks with computers, and like apparently they had some real just not great not like I don't think I'm a great candidate. I don't think I'm like some absolute standout. Part of the reason I'm excited for this job is because I think it's going to be very simple and very boring, and it's not going to require a lot from me, and it still pays pretty goddamn well. Knowing that there were people applying for this who clearly did know nothing. Because again, these were not difficult interviews. I mean, yes, I'm coming in with like 15 years of experience, I guess. Like if you had people who were coming in with like 3 or 4 years of experience. But even then, like these were some real basics things. Anyway, point is, hopefully this is going to work out. I'm excited for it. As excited as I'm going to allow myself to be for, as you say, Phoenix, exactly. Don't dream of labor, but destitution is a nightmare. So before I actually try and get into something tabletop RPG flavored for tonight, which will just be the second hour of the stream, and then we wrap up, because it's going to be much shorter. Again, it's probably only going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, in large part because I'm only going to be able to work out in the evenings now, which means my 3 workout days are going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to get home, have dinner, work out, have dinner. By that time, it's going to be late. I'm going to be tired. But again, I don't know. Look, it's all up in the air. It's all up in the air. Before I go, I want to show you something. You see above my head here? See above my head how there's like a thing? You can't really read it because it is blurred because I have, because depth of field. It's not even a filter. It's just I'm using a DSLR, so there's that natural DSLR blur separation. So I'm gonna show you something. Because this was a little gift from Dave, and if I kind of step back there, I think you might be able to read it. If you're watching on a phone, you're not going to be able to see shit. But if you are on a home screen, go full screen, and you should hopefully be able to read. Let's see. Can we? I don't know if that's readable. I don't know if that was readable at all for anybody, but it is a lit up sign, a lit up uncivilized dance sign. Just barely. Look, I could just. It's not even. I can just bring it over. It's up. Okay, there we go. Look at that. You just wear it on my head, I guess. And yeah, there we go. Again, it was a gift. It was a gift from a friend. As soon as I stop streaming, I get one of these. So this is nice, and it can actually. Wait, what am I doing? Oh, I'm. There we go. It changes colors. Look at that. Changes colors as well if you need it to. Hey, look at that. And then it just turns off. and there we go. And I put this one. I like the little. There we go. There we go. I'm in an MMO. That's actually, that might be my some kind of Halloween thing, MMO character, and just have a little place card above my head. I love that. Absolutely love that. There we go. There we go. Anyway, like it's just there. It's just there. It makes me feel good. Even it's not really like terribly. Oh, hang on. Not even terribly visible. But it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. And occasionally I will point it out so people know that it is back there. But yes, it was a gift from a friend. Apparently, no, he actually did. They sent him a second one, and I forgot to bring it back home last weekend. But I don't know what I'm going to do with the second one. But for whatever reason, they sent him two. So maybe I can just hang one closer up here. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I can just put one somewhere so when I switch to the overhead camera on those days when I use one. But anyway, we're not switching to the overhead camera. I'm going to, let's go ahead and actually try and do something here. So if I go here, okay, so I was trying to install, so I've installed this. Hopefully I've installed it. Let me just, sorry, I'm just trying to set up a window here real quick. Very important that I do this. All right, so I'm going to change. Let's see, I already added my code here. So in theory, okay, there we go. There we go. So there's Foundry. So I'm going to see if I can, let's see here, install module, DC20, for rulebook, premium content, core rulebook. Well, I already have this. Right? And yeah, version 9.0. Okay, so that's the correct core rules. Oh, is this it? I think this is it, actually. Right? Let me see. Ouch. So the module is normally 45 bucks. I've got it. Okay, okay, so this is it. Okay, I think I installed the right thing. Okay, you didn't see my window switch. That's fine. So with that installed, then game systems, no, install system, DC20 is the official. Okay, there we go. So I think I need to have both. Man's in Foundry. Hey, Struggle Buzz. Go dark for a few weeks and look what happens. Say, hey, how you doing, friend? How you doing? Yeah, no, so actually I did not intend to be in Foundry today. I just, okay, here we go, DC20. And then I have the module, I guess. DC20 core rulebook module. Okay, so let's set up a new one, I guess. Create world, right? Anyway, hey, Struggle Bus. So I just spent the last hour talking about the new job, so I'm not going to go over it again. But new job. I got a new job, and that means everything is up in the air. Things are changing. But I wanted to talk about DC20 version 0.9. And then I set the stream title and everything. And let me use DC20 test world. And then once I did that, I realized that I never properly registered so that they will send me the game materials through DriveThruRPG. So I have to do that. I did back it on Kickstarter, but I never did that part. So I don't have the 0.9 rules, which was what I thought I was going to do things. But then I saw that I did have access to the DC20 Foundry version, which is also 0.9. So maybe, right? We can make this work. Let's find out. It's DC20. All right, send, yeah, it's create world. This is all good. And let's see here. Ooh, and you're trying to learn to use Foundry. Well, so am I, Hawkeye. So am I. So we'll see how this goes for both of us. I'm not a Foundry expert. I barely. But this is FU was Fabula Ultima, not the other thing. That's what this was for. But I'm not exactly great at Foundry either. I am also learning as I go. But hey, let's learn together as we go. Still, big fan of Foundry. Big fan of Foundry. Let's see. Ahoy, I'm recovering from a long board game weekend. Today was the first day back at work. And yes, to the new job. Congratulations again. Slightly awkward. Yeah, no, it is. It's first of all, thanks for the congrats. And hey, Eagle D20 over on YouTube. I see you. Sorry. Perfect stream to listen to while I play Lizard Slapping Simulator game Monster Hunter. Enjoy slapping your lizard, Eagle D20. Enjoy slapping that lizard over on the YouTube. It's good to have you. I've technically in this tabletop RPG stream have talked about my new job for an hour. So that checks out. But now we're finally gonna dive in here and see what we can see. Just join the game session as the game master. Okay. Game paused. Yes, game should be paused. So let's see what we can see here. What do we got? Don't I need to install some stuff as the game master? DC20 active modules. Okay, manage modules. Here we go. So let's here we go. The DC20 core rulebook module. Activate that, right? Save module settings. Reload of the application to take effect. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I guess. Reload now. Okay, good. I thought it was like reload the application as in full on kill the app. That phrasing. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh, okay. Here we go. DC20 PG, ancestries, backgrounds, classes, DC20 core rule class. Oh, okay, so this is kind of confusing. Is it because create companion, open item row afterwards? Because we got core rulebook and the core rulebook subclasses. Then we've got this classes here. Wait. Classes, okay, and classes. Well, that's confusing. I'm not sure. All right, well, we'll do what we can with this, but because part of the fun of DC20 version 9 is that we have more levels and more subclasses, and they actually cleaned up a few things. But the reason I would have really liked to have the actual book, journal entries, rollable tables, no, playlists, compendium packs, system guide, advanced system guide, row level systems. No, this is like, oh, this is like actual like code stuff for, yeah, no, I don't, that's not the level of system guide I want here. System items, basic actions, so information about all this stuff. I mean, this is good stuff, but, you know, I would have liked to be able to go through. All right, here's what we're going to do. I think. Let's do this. because I do want to look at the proper DC20 system. And I don't think, that's not what I wanted. I don't think there really is a way for me to wait, rules. Okay, so I guess we can kind of get some ideas on what the system looks like by looking at the various rules here. All right, so let's do that. You know, like I'm going to try and get access to the PDF as I originally intended to by the next stream, which would probably be on Thursday. But I think at least for today, we can at least like get an idea of what's happening here, get an idea of what the thing looks like. Here we go. Got to go. No worries, Phoenix. Have a good night yourself. Take care. I will hopefully see you again during the next stream. We'll see how, again, everything's up in the air. I cannot promise when, but I'm aiming for next Thursday around this same time. I would say tomorrow, but I'm not going to promise it. So much more likely to be Thursday. So, all right, let's actually look at some systems. So first of all, DC20. What the hell is DC20? DC20 is one of the D&D killers, or wannabe D&D killers that sort of was spawned. I mean, it's been around for longer, but there were several that were kind of like given particular weight and momentum during the grand OGL fiasco of 20 whatever, I guess maybe even 2020. I don't remember how many. It was like 3 years ago. Anyway, D&D was on the road. 2023. Thank you, Struggle Bus. Thank you. D&D was on the ropes, and out from the woodwork crawled several pretenders to the throne. And DC20 is one of them, and it's kind of become the one that I'm most attached to personally, because it feels to me like some systems are like, well, we want to be D&D, but actually we want to be Pathfinder. And some of them are like, we want to do D&D, but actually we want to do it our whole entire different thing that we want to do. And it's fantasy, which again, fine. But to me, DC20 felt the closest, like, we want to do D&D, but better. Like, we still want to keep a lot of the stuff that we like from D&D, a certain amount of the level of crunch and everything from D&D, and a lot of, like, it should feel very familiar, but we're going to modernize it. We're not going to be 100% beholden to what came before. We're gonna, kind of do our own thing, but hopefully still maintain that feel. And to me personally, it seems to be, it's like, I think it maintained that feel pretty well. And I'm gonna be running Tales of the Valiant for Kobold Press at Gen Con. I actually need to check out Tales of the Valiant. I will admit I've not been exposed to that one at all. I have not taken a look at the rules at all, so it is on my list to look at. I have looked at MCDM, I have looked at Daggerheart, and I've looked at DC20, and at least of those three, I like DC20 the most so far. And I am sad that I don't have the PDF, so we're just gonna kind of mess with what we see here so far. Just look at the core system, and maybe tonight we even get to look at one of the classes and or subclasses, because I do like what they do with the concept of the classes in DC20. Like their approach to the quote-unquote class fantasy really kind of grabbed me. So I wanted to play with that. All right, so let's take a look at what the attributes look like in this system. So in this system, there's certain things that get simplified. Like D&D has the 6 stats: strength, dexterity, constitution, charisma, intelligence, and wisdom. DC20 crunches that down to 4 base stats, 4 attributes, right? DC20 represent your physical, might and agility, and mental, intelligence and charisma abilities. Each attribute has a value that ranges from -2 to +7 for most creatures, which measures your aptitude with that attribute. So might is your strength of body, agility, your balance, nimbleness, dexterity, intelligence, your reasoning, understanding, and wisdom, charisma, your charm, presence, persuasiveness, and force of will. And a little example here, if you have an agility of +3, then you would add +3 to any D20 roll that uses agility. DC tip, each attribute also contributes towards different aspects of your character shown below that you should keep in mind when creating your character. Each attribute also contributes towards different aspects of your character shown below that you should keep in mind when creating it. Okay. So clearly some of this, I mean, this is still beta. This is not a final game. After 0.9, 0.10, 0.12, 0. etc. There are plans for the full release. We're still at least a year out. This is still not a finished game, so we're definitely going to keep that in mind. But okay, so we've got the base attributes, and then we've got our descriptions down here: might, agility, charisma, and intelligence. So let's see here. Might represents your physical strength, health, and endurance, comes associated with the following: heavy armor has a minimum might requirement to use properly. Your might is added to your maximum health points. Interesting. Okay, so your might is not just your, it's kind of like a combination of strength and constitution. Checks made to initiate or escape grapples use athletics/might checks. So it's okay, athletics / okay, yeah, okay, cool. Might also contributes to lifting, pushing, dragging, throwing an encumbrance. Might saves are made to resist effects that push you away, knock you down, or crush you. If you want to roleplay a PC that's the go-to for being the strong one and overpowering your enemies, then might is for you. But you know what is not for you, even at the best of times? That's right, folks. It's ads. I'm gonna give you the one and only ad break of the show, because it's gonna be a short show. Since we're doing nighttime, and I do have to go to bed at a decent hour. We're only going to do one more hour after this. But first, I'm looking at the ad break, and it's going to start by itself in 20 seconds anyway. So rather than let it start by itself, we're going to start it ourselves. We're just going to look at ads for 3 minutes, and if you're already subscribed, fuck yeah. Instead of ads, you're going to see some leftist memes. And if you're not subscribed, well, ads are the price you pay. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Nope, I forgot how to do the things. And with that, ads should hopefully be all done, and that means we're back. Let's go back to the big old game screen. Aha. All right, so cool. By the way, we're seeing attributes and prime modifier. So we haven't really been told. Okay, we'll get to the prime modifier down here. Cool. All right, so we got might, we got agility. So your agility is added to your physical defense. All right, checks made to escape grapples. Use acrobatics, agility. Okay, so to initiate or escape grapples. Oh, so you can use either athletics, might, or acrobatics, agility. Okay, interesting. Agility also contributes to jumping and reducing damage taken from falling. And agility saves are made to resist effects to reduce your speed, cause you to lose your balance, or can be avoided by dodging out of the way. If you want to roleplay NPC, that's nimble. Dan, that's not a word. Nimble. Light on their feet and good with their hands, then agility is for you. We got charisma, represents your charm, presence, force of will, anything related to interacting socially with other creatures. Your appearance, mannerisms, and the words you say is charisma. So it's added to your mystical defense. Charisma can contribute to a language check, made to understand languages you have limited fluency with. You get a number of grit points equal to your charisma. We'll see what grit points are soon enough. Social skills checks use charisma, such as skills to influence other creatures or gain insights into their actions or behaviors. And charisma saves are made to resist effects that alter your emotions or dominate your will. So it's kind of a combination of charisma and willpower, sort of. If you want to roleplay as the face of the party, have good people skills, and charisma is for you. Finally, intelligence. Your intelligence is added to your mystical defense as well. So charisma and intelligence are mystical defense, while might and agility don't say. Yeah, agility is added to physical defense, and I guess armor. Okay, and might will contribute to defense by letting you use armor. Interesting. Okay. So intelligence, add to your mystical defense, can contribute to language check, and gain a number of bonus skill points to spend more on skills. So the smarter you are, the more shit you know. Knowledge skill checks use intelligence, such as knowledge of nature, religion, occultism, history, or magic arcana. And intelligence saves are made to resist effects that read your thoughts, affect your memories, confuse you, or use illusions to deceive your senses. If you want to roleplay NPC as the smartest person in the room and just knows things, then intelligence is for you. Okay, so far, nothing crazy. In fact, if anything, we're condensing the stats down to only 4. I'm already seeing a couple of quick differences here, like with the mystical defense aspect and stuff. So we'll see what that gives us. Then how do we set our starting attributes? You got your PC's attributes from one of the following methods, and then assign the values to each of the 4 attributes. You got your standard array, 3, 1, 0, -2, and assign each value to an attribute of your choice. And you gain 2 additional attribute points to increase whichever attributes you want up to the attribute limit of 3. Interesting. So when you start, you really can't have attributes higher than 3, at least not with standard array. I do like it feels a little weird to have attributes listed as negative, right? Like, I think games have kind of generally avoided. I'm sorry, give me a second. I just need to check something. What the hell? I got a weird email that just came in, and I just want to make sure I'm not missing something. Okay, never mind that. It's just spam. I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, well, good job, spammer. You at least got me to look at your spam. Anyway, let's get back to it. But yeah, like I said, I think games avoid trying to give you negative stats. Let's give you a low stat that inflicts negative things. So I think what DC20 was trying to do was to avoid the have a stat number and then have to refer to yet another table to see what modifier that stat number gives you, right? They're just like the stat is the modifier. So at the end of the day, I'm not a complaint. I think it's easy. I like that. It's not a, oh, I've got an 18 strength, so that means I have a +3 or +4 or whatever. Like it's just I have a 4 strength. I add 4. Cool. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. It's simple. But I will say it does feel a little weird to see a negative stat. But that's just have to get used to that, right? Point buy, you start with a -2 in all your attributes, and you gain 12 attribute points to increase whichever attributes you want up to the attribute limit. Your prime modifier, see later in this chapter, comes from your highest attribute, so it's a good idea to make sure you get a 3 in at least one of your attributes. Or the roll method. You determine your starting values by rolling 1d6 -3 4 times, and then assign each value to an attribute of your choice. You gain +2 attribute points to increase whichever attributes you want up to the attribute limit of 3. Prime modifier insurance. If the value of your highest attribute is less than 3, even after adding the +2 attribute points, you can reduce a different attribute value by 1 or more to increase your highest attribute by the same amount. You can't reduce an attribute value below -2 or increase an attribute above your attribute limit of 3. This method of determining your starting attributes is the most risky. It offers potential for the highest starting attributes, but also the lowest. If you add all your attributes together, their sum should be 4 on average after the +2 bonus points are added. If you get less than this, talk to your GM about potentially re-rolling your attributes or using a different method. So again, very simple, very simple. It's almost discouraged to do the rolling. It's like it's there, but it feels like it's sort of like, I guess if you really want to roll for it, go for it. But also like, so we're going to be comparing it a lot to D&D, simply because that's the comparison that's invited, right? So with D&D, with your stats, you got a 3d6, so that gives you a bell curve, which means most stats are going to fall within that 8 to 10 range, and then outliers are increasingly rare. With this, it's a 1d6. There's no curve. It is just a straight shot of like either anywhere from -2 to 3 on every dice. Like a 20% chance of any of those results. So it really does become even more pure luck, right? With classic D&D stat rolling, there is some level of smoothing. The odds on the multiple dice make it so that it is increasingly unlikely that you will get a crazy good or crazy bad character, unless, of course, you're Dave. But with this rolling system, like, it really is just anybody's game with this system, which is fine. It's fine. I think it shows that they just want you to do either the standard array or point by default. Yeah, exactly. Now it's in rolling low. Yo, what were we rolling? I guess you'll hear it in a few weeks. I don't recommend it. But for those of you out there who listen to the podcast, which I just plugged on chat because of course I did, I still haven't fixed it so they show up on the video. It's fine. Anyway, in a couple of weeks you will probably hear it was a 1-page RPG. It was shit, I don't even remember. But it was a 1-page RPG. Oh, it was Miami 86 or something. It's a game. I made some choices during that game, but to be fair, the game encouraged them. Anyway, that was a D20 game. Even though it was a 1-page RPG, it used a D20. Holy shit, I have not rolled that badly in a game in a long time. There were multiple nat 20s actually, but that game is a roll under. Ones are where you want, 20s are what you don't want. I rolled multiple nat 20s. I don't know if 99 problems bad. Like, we did succeed in the end. It wasn't full on flip the table and leave levels, but it wasn't great. I definitely rolled a lot of really bad results on that one. And we, as is our wont, did not follow the rules very closely. I probably should have died in that first fight. And in part, it is because of what we're just talking about here now. We went with it's a one-page RPG. Let's just roll for it. Let's just roll for everything. And so I ended up with a glass cannon, or more like a glass jaw boxer. Like my character was like really strong. His might was like his highest stat, and he had 2 hit points. Count them, 2 hit points. Anytime he got hit, it was like either you did 1 hit point or you killed me. It was a good time. It was a good time. Except, of course, might was my best stat, and so I would go like, cool, I punched the guy, and then proceed to roll like the worst possible roll. It's like, I guess I don't. And now the guy hits me, and he did more than 1 hit point. I'm down. It was not great. It was not great. That's all I'm saying. All right, so prime modifier sidebar. Let's talk about that prime modifier. So your prime modifier allows you to create the kind of character. Actually, this is one of the things that I really liked about DC20, by the way, when I found out about this prime modifier, because it made it so that what I saw in the game was like, hey, here's all the cool stuff that you kind of love from D&D. Here's a lot of the core ideas, classes, and everything. But at the same time, we're gonna make it so you really do get to play whatever you want within that. And so this prime modifier thing was one of those concepts within the game that kind of drew me in. So the prime modifier allows you to create the kind of character you truly want to play without negatively impacting their combat prowess. Since your prime modifier will be used to swing weapons and cast spells, this allows you to choose which attribute you want to be the highest without feeling forced into picking a specific one. An intelligent or charismatic barbarian may not have as much health or be able to grapple or lift as much as a might barbarian, but their ability to wield a weapon is the same. It's up to you whether or not you want to roleplay the source of which attribute your prime modifier comes from in combat or not. You could describe your intelligent barbarian as being a tactical mastermind of the battlefield, or your charismatic barbarian as a fiery, confident leader, or you can be a mindless rage monster in combat if you just want to smash things. This is an opportunity to create the PC that you want. Your highest attribute at level 1 will be 3, so no matter which attribute you choose as the highest, your prime modifier will be 3. And so again, it says your prime modifier will be used to swing weapons and cast spells. And there's a lot of stuff. It's similar. It's not entirely dissimilar to your proficiency bonus kind of from D&D, but it's a lot simpler. Right, it's just simply whichever is your highest stat, whichever is the stat that you have chosen to focus on for your character, is going to be your prime stat, and your prime modifier is going to be used for a lot of just your core class stuff, which basically makes it so that you can play a smart barbarian or a dumb wizard, or whatever, have the combination stats. It's not like in most RPGs where if you want to play X kind of character, you have to pick these specific stats, or else you're not good as that kind of character, right? So the example they give here with the intelligent barbarian or the charismatic barbarian, right? There are still going to be, it's still going to affect things. You're still not as strong, for example, that because you chose intelligence or charisma as sort of your prime modifier. There are certain things you're not going to be able to lift up heavy objects as much. You're not that strong, but your core ability to do things as your class will not depend on your stats that much, right? It's going to be defined by your prime ability. So overall, I really like that concept. Overall, I think it's a good concept. I have to see how it plays, of course, but overall, I like the idea behind it and the kinds of more creative options that it opens up for players. Okay, here we go. So attribute limit, right? So as we saw at level 1, you really can only go up to a +3 on a stat. It's not until you hit level 5 that you can raise a stat to +4. At level 10, +5, 15, 6, and 20 at 7. All right, pretty straightforward that. Gaining attributes. As your player character levels up, they will regularly gain more attribute points to increase your attributes. So you gain 1 attribute point at levels 2, 4, 7, 9, and 10. You get more of these points from levels 11 and higher as well. But you know, again, so one thing to keep in mind, again, the unfinished game, right? And once we get to the character classes, you'll see that we don't. Well, we'll see what they've added, but I know like with the previous version with 0.8, it was basically just the first 2 levels. It's just level 1 and level 2. Characters are very capable already at level 1 in this game. In fact, they're capable enough that for those players who, like Billy, like to play just like, no, but I really want to be just some dude, there is a way to sort of make level 0 characters. If you really want it, but overall it is meant to be, you're pretty capable at the earlier levels already. And so 0.8 really only gave us rules for levels 1 and 2 of all the classes. So this version is supposed to give us, I think, the rules up through level 4. So it still doesn't even get to like level 10. I think it's just the rules up to level 4, and we did get all the new subclasses. So there are like literally dozens of subclasses now for each. I mean, there's 12 like core classes and like a whole bunch of subclasses. So that's gonna be fun to go through. But so this is so we get 2. So level 1 you start, then 2, 4. 5, 7, 9, 10. Interesting. I guess we'll see what the player character progression table looks like once we get to the rest of them. But that's like I'm trying to figure out like so first time you level up to level 2, you get some. Level 3 you don't get some. Level 4 you get some. Level 5 you get some. Level 6 you don't get some. Level 7 you get some. You don't get some. Level 9 you get some. Level 10 you get some. Like it is a little like that's 7 there, and then no 6 or 8 in between them, and the 3. Like I'm trying to like feel out what the logic is there. It's a little odd. I don't mind it. All right, so what do we get with our prime modifier? Prime modifier represents your overall experience and prowess as an adventurer. Use your prime modifier as the primary bonus you add to your checks involving attacking, casting a spell, or awareness of dangers around you. Your prime modifier is commonly associated with the following: attack checks, spell checks, save DCs, and awareness checks. Ooh, I like that. I like the prime modifier is added to awareness checks as well. Because, with so many games, it's like, I am a super capable wizard, but if you happen to have, like, low awareness, you're gonna get killed by a goblin. So I like that just, you're a better adventurer. Your prime modifier just shows, like, your overall prowess, as they say, about an as an adventurer. Yeah, okay, I dig that. Just because your barbarian in the group has high charisma instead of might doesn't mean he's worse at swinging a sword because of it. To be fair, wizards get nerd sniped like us all the time. No, it's true. But again, it's specifically your prowess as an adventurer, right? Because that's the thing. Like, yeah, if you're a wizard who like is in your tower all the time, right? Thus thou even cast. But if you're an adventuring wizard, now that's different, right? That's different. You've got a different set of skills about you. So attack checks, spell checks, save DCs, and awareness checks. So a lot of the core stuff. Prime modifier value is always equal to the value of your highest attribute. If your highest attribute changes, your prime modifier derives value from the value of your new highest attribute. Your prime modifier is not an attribute, nor is it considered the attribute that it derives its value from. So it's good to know, right? Your prime modifier is not an attribute, and it is not a reflection of the attribute that it has come from. So if might is your highest attribute, then your prime modifier derives its value from the value of your might. If your might is 3, then your prime modifier is 3. If an effect grants you advantage on might checks, it does not also grant you advantage on checks that use your prime modifiers, such as attack checks and spell checks, unless the effects otherwise says so. Good to know. Good to know. Variant rules. Prime modifier equals attribute. Okay, yeah, that's a variant rule that hasn't been fleshed out yet. Yeah, it definitely hasn't been fleshed out. Okay, so those are the core stats and the core concept of that prime modifier. Solid, solid. Skills, traits, and languages. So here's the thing, though. Oh, I don't... I think... maneuvers and techniques. Yeah, some good stuff here, but like I feel like a lot of this actually changed from 0.8 to 0.9. Like I'm seeing mastery, and from what I saw in the release, mastery is no longer really a thing. It is now called training, and it has changed certain things. Like certain classes that used to get certain types of mastery now don't get that because the mastery they used to get has actually been rolled into other stuff. So I really feel like I don't want to dive into this here until I actually get the new PDF so we can look at it. One thing I can do is check out the classes. Let's do that. Let's check out the classes, the new version, the 20 core rule book. This one I know is the 0.9 version. So let's at least look at the core classes tonight, because we have a little over half an hour before I kind of wrap it up for the night. We'll look at the core classes tonight, and then for Thursday when I come back, we can look at some subclasses, and also hopefully by then I'll have the PDF properly. So, but let's look at some of these classes in the meantime. We've got a whole bunch of cores. Like we've got, let me kind of close all these down. We've got Barbarian, Bard, Champion. So these used to be, in fact, I think we might be able to compare. Nah. Okay, so they did change the name on here too. It used to be Fighter, right? Champion used to be Fighter. They did change a few names also, like Hunter used to be Ranger, so they did change a few names, so that's good. But yeah, you got Barbarian, Bard, Champion, Cleric, Commander, Druid, Hunter, Monk, Rogue, Sorcerer, Spellblade, Warlock, and Wizard. And there, the subdivision of subclasses, some things end in places where you might not expect. Like Paladins, for example, are neither champions nor clerics. They're Spellblades. So we'll get to that. But let's kind of look at the core classes and what the game is trying to offer. So for Barbarian, Barbarians, they're a martial class. They got weapons: light shield, light armor, heavy armor. Description: Barbarians charge into battle with reckless abandon, ignoring their own safety as they brush off damage and deal even more in return. They trade defense for more offense and let out blood-crazed battle cries. Source of power: Barbarians become overtaken by a surge of strength called rage. This can manifest as rage, possession, primal power, or something else entirely. A protected barbarian could tap into this power if their friends are in danger. A frightened barbarian could lash out when they are scared. There are many possibilities where a barbarian's power of rage comes from. Start with 2 weapons or shields, 1 ranged weapon with 20 armor, blah blah blah, 1 set of novice light armor, or X of Y packs, adventurer packs coming soon. Yeah, so there's some stuff that's being worked out still. Barbarian Martial Mastery. Yeah, I want to get that PDF because I know, again, the wording has been changed on some of this stuff. But you are trained in weapons, all armors, and all shields. You learn all attack maneuvers. You learn additional maneuvers as shown in the maneuvers known column of the class table. So we'll be able to, so in the techniques, yeah, we can look at maneuvers. So basically, as a barbarian, God damn it, state. So Barbarian, you have access to all attack maneuvers. So extend attack, power attack, sweep attack. So for example, if I do extend attack, what's that say? Your melee attack is increased by 1 space, or roll your range attack range is increased by 5 spaces for the attack check. Cool. So basically, literally extend the attack. Attack 1 space further away is 1 maneuver. Power attack. You deal +1 damage with the attack. You can use this maneuver multiple times. And sweep attack. Choose one original target within 1 space of the original target's attack within your main attack check against all targets. Attack hit, the original target takes your weapon, and each additional target takes 1 damage of the same type. Cool. So we'll have to see what that actually learns from maneuvers. I mean, we'll see what the system says in terms of combat. But okay, so you have that. You have some techniques. You have some stamina points. Stamina points are kind of what you spend to get your powers. Then your basic class table. Level 1, you get 1 bonus HP, 1 bonus stamina points. You gain 4 maneuvers, and you get your class features, etc., etc. So let's look at the class features. Here we go. So what do barbarians get? Barbarian stamina, berserker, rage, shattering force as a flavor feature, and then at level 2 you get battle cry. Okay, definitely need to look at the at the full PDF because it's supposed to have up to level 4, I think. But let's look at barbarian stamina. When you score a heavy or critical hit against a creature or one is scored against you, you regain 1 SP, provided you don't spend SP as part of that action. Okay, so SP, stamina points, are basically what you spend to activate your abilities. And the barbarian stamina makes it so anytime you score a heavy or critical hit against a creature, or anytime you receive a heavy or critical hit, you regain SP. So that means as you're fighting, you're getting some of that back. I like that. Like there's an economy there. There's a way to build it back up. Let's see, Berserker. Your Primal Savagery grants you the following benefits. Charge. When you make a melee martial attack on your turn, you can move to 2 spaces immediately before making the attack. Nice. Berserker Defense. You gain access to the following PD formula while not wearing armor. So 8 plus your Combat Mastery plus Might or Agility plus 2. Okay, nice. So basically, as a Berserker, you are harder to hurt just in general because of Berserking. See, Fast Movement. You wear faster while not wearing armor. And then Mighty Leap. You can use your Might instead of Agility to determine their jump distance. System tip. Berserker Defense is selected by default. Okay, cool. Rage. You can spend 1 action point and 1 stamina point to enter a rage for 1 minute. During the rage, +1 damage of melee, advantage on might checks and saves. Your physical defense decreases by 5, and you gain resistance half to elemental and physical damage. Your rage ends early if you fall unconscious, die, or choose to earn it for free on your turn. Pretty straightforward rage effects. And then Shattering Force is a flavor feature. So all of them have a flavor feature in as well, which is something like example, here we go. When you hit a structure or mundane object with a melee attack, it's considered a critical hit. So there's stuff that it's like, it's cool, but it's mostly flavor. But it's still like an effect. So like a barbarian shattering down a door. You know, you kind of integrate that into it, but it's not otherwise super mechanical. And then at level 2, you gain your Battle Cry. You can spend 1 AP and 1 SP to release a shout of your choice. Until the start of your next turn, you and the creatures of your choice within 10 spaces that can see or hear you are subjected to the effects of your shout. So there's the Fortitude Shout. Each creature gains resistance 1 against the normal foes for physical or mental damage. Fury Shout. Each creature deals 1+1 damage on the next attack against 1 target. And Urgent Shout. Each creature gains +1 speed until the start of your next turn. That's cool, actually. So it's a way... Yeah, okay, I like that. I like that. Because barbarians tend to be a very... Selfish is not the right word, but it's a very self-focused class, right? It's about like making myself angrier, faster, stronger, harder, blah blah blah, and just fucking up more enemies. But here, even at the second level, you have something that's fairly cheap, affects up to 10 spaces around you, and lets you make everyone around you, all your friends, everybody do more damage, or everybody move faster, or everybody, buckle in and take and be able to survive a bigger hit. I like that. I like that a lot for the barbarian. Okay, so that's a cool little approach for the barbarian. Let's see who else we've got. So the bard. What's the bard got to offer us? Oh boy, there's a whole bunch here. Bards utilize artistic expression to various forms to connect with the emotions and heart of magic. This includes a wide range of mediums, such as musical instruments, singing, dancing, drawing, painting, sculpting, poetry, storytelling, inspirational speech, and more. They are great at bringing the best out in those around them through both helping and performing, showcasing high proficiency across multiple disciplines. Bards are remarkably flexible and adaptable spellcasters capable of tapping into a wide array of magical abilities with the appropriate artistic expression. Their source of power. Bards derive their power from harnessing their emotions and force of will, as well as those of others around them. The feeling you get when listening to a stirring song, hearing masterfully read poetry, or witnessing a captivating performance that gives you chills, elevates your heart rate and provokes you to dance. That passion is what fuels their potential. A bard's emotion, determination, and willpower flows through their unique artistic expression, touching the hearts and minds of those around them, and bringing their magic to life. Bard flavor. Bards compile a repertoire of artistic expressions that they manifest as spells. Musician bards utilize specific songs or instruments to cast spells, while dancer bards perform particular dance moves that represent different spells. Storyteller bards initiate combat by narrating tales of wonder and adventure, seamlessly weaving spells into key points of the story. Painter bards fluidly and freely paint images, each triggering a specific spell. I like that approach. Cleric spellcasting mastership. Wait, what? Oh. So I wonder if this is if bards just get cleric spells? I don't think so. Or if this is just a typo. I think it's just a typo. So you are trained in light armor and light shields only. Your spell list, when you learn a new spell, you can choose any spell with... Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this makes a little bit more sense. So spells with a charm spell tag, or from the following spell schools: conjuration, divination, enchantment, illusion, and restoration. Okay, I like that. I like that as for a bard. These are the spells: conjuration, divination, enchantment, illusion, and restoration. Beta note: this means that the following spells are what you would have access to. So that's another thing. And we'll see that again. We are still in beta, but there is a decent selection of spells, and they are very iconic. I think it's like 0.12 is the update where they're just going to like add in all the spells and all the magic and all this stuff. That's going to be like the magic focused one. So we're going to see, like, we have a decent amount of selection of spells, right? But it's still like, all these are going to seem very familiar. So cantrips: befriend, close wounds, guidance, light, mage hand, message, minor illusion, and then 1 magic point spells: bane, bless, command, find familiar, fog cloud, grease, heal, psychic fear, silent image, sleep, and tethering vines. Cantrips known: the number of cantrips you know increases as shown in the cantrip. Spells known: same, blah blah blah. And mana points: your maximum number of mana points increases as shown in the mana points column on the class table. So basically at level 1, you gain +6 mana points, 2 cantrips, and 3 spells, and so forth as you go in. Then the class features, let's check them out. So at level 1, as a bard, you gain Font of Inspiration. You're an ever-present source of aid for your allies. You gain the following benefits: ranged help attack. The range of your help action when aiding an attack increases to 10 spaces. That's very cool. And help reaction: when a creature you can see within 10 spaces makes a check, you can take the help action. Let me open up the help. Oh my god, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Spend 1 AP to grant a creature D8 help die that lasts until the next year. Oh, that's very cool. Okay, okay, okay. So it's a little bit like the Bardic Inspiration, but it's for everybody. Because if anybody, you can take the help action. So I'm helping you. And for an attack, you declare you must be within one space of the attacker or the target of the attack. So again, somebody's next to you in combat. I'm attacking this orc. My buddy next to me, instead of attacking, goes, I'm going to help you with that orc. Because I'm not good. I don't have weapons. I'm out of spells. Whatever. For whatever reason, I'm going to help you with that orc. So I spend 1 action point, and I grant my friend who's attacking the orc a D8 help die that lasts until the start of my next turn. Upon granting the help die, you must declare which creature you're helping and the type of help. So if it's an attack, declare 1 damage. While the help die lasts, it can be added to an attack made against the target, and so forth and so on. Okay, so that's very cool. But then the bard, because of who they are, because they are font of inspiration, they get to do that. They can do that attack help from up to 10 spaces away. Again, very cool. Very cool. Kind of another way of getting around the concept of that sort of like bardic inspiration, that font of inspiration thing. But it's built into the system. It's not necessarily. I like that because it is. Anybody can help you out. There's a default help action. But bards specifically can do it from afar because they are bards. I like that approach. Because sometimes there are stuff like, for example, we might still run into that once we look at rogues and stuff, right? But one of the weird things about it that I've seen sometimes is like that there are certain skills that one would think like, let me try. Right? So especially with like rogues, there's stuff that rogues sometimes do that maybe you want to let other people try. Rogues are gonna be better at it, but it's not that it's impossible for someone who's not a rogue to do it. And a lot of the rogue abilities always felt like they were arbitrarily impossible for other people to do. Right, so we'll see how this game handles that, but with the inspiration thing, I kind of like that idea that it piggybacks off of that built-in help action, but the bard gets to do more with it because of the font of inspiration thing. So I dig that. Let's see what else we got. Remarkable repertoire. You picked up a few tricks along with your travels, granting you the following benefits. You jack of all trades, so you gain plus two skill points. That's nice. Magical secrets. You learn any 2 spells of your choice from any spell list. Oh, interesting. Magical expression. You learn to express your art in a unique manner, granting you the ability to alter how you cast spells. Choose your manner of expression, visual or auditory, visual through acrobatics, dancing, juggling, or you can ignore the verbal components of spells you cast, but you must provide a somatic component instead, or auditory through singing. Okay, that's clever. That's clever. So basically it makes it so because of the way you cast magic, then the requirements of certain spells will change so that you can still meet them through your performance because you are a bard and that is how you cast magic. All right, I dig that. And finally, your flavor feature is your crowd pleaser. When you spend at least 5 minutes performing an artistry trade for 1 or more people who are actively watching or listening to your performance, you can make an artistry trade check contested by the target's charisma save. So there is like, I haven't seen that mechanic yet, of course, because we've barely seen any mechanics so far. But there are trade checks with the skills, or at least some of them. Like I distinctly remember him mentioning something about, hey, in most games you might have like these trade skills that are not that important, and this game they're also not going to be super important, but besides just kind of being something that'll be rarely useful, and there's a reason that nobody picks those skills, here these skills will allow your character to a certain point like have certain effects, make a living, kind of, right? So you can practice your trade, and there are benefits from that. And again, I don't quote me on that, right? We'll see what that looks like if and when we ever get to the rules on that. But I do distinctly remember it being a thing. So this affects that. At level 2, we get Bardic Performance. Spend 1 AP and 1 MP to start a performance that lasts for 1 minute. Choose one of the performances below. Creatures of your choice within 10 spaces that can see or hear you benefit from your performance. So Battle Ballad, on once on each of your turns, the turns and creatures deal +1 damage against one target of their choice on attack they make. Fast tempo. Okay, this is, again, for a minute you are granting everybody a series of buffs. Once on each one of your turns, you can spend 1 AP to change your performance to a different one. And person you kept at it, you die or choose to earn it for free. Okay, cool. That's very cool. That's very cool. So basically, you spend 1 AP and 1 MP. Now you're performing. This lasts for 10 minutes. For 1 minute. For the rest of that minute, you are doing that performance. But the next round, by default, the performance continues, right? It lasts for 1 minute. You can still take all your other actions for the next round. However, on your turn, if whatever effect you're putting is what you want to keep giving them, then performance just continues, and you still have all your APs. But if you want to change, this is 1 AP, and I think you start with like 4 or 6 APs. We'll check. I like that. I like that. Again, it gives you flexibility, and there's a small cost for the flexibility, or no cost if you just want to stick with what you're doing. That's pretty powerful. So that's an aura ability. It's in Space's aura ability. So there's a few of them like that. Like aura abilities are definitely like abilities that are centered on your character up to X amount of spaces away. So interestingly, I'm not seeing, I mean, we'll see again once we get to the magic properly, right? This is just a class ability. But you'll notice there does not appear to be any kind of like concentration check. It just keeps going unless you become incapacitated, die, or end it. But there isn't like, I got hit, oh no, I have to make a concentration check or my performance ends. It just kind of keeps going. I wonder if that's the same for spells. I wonder how that works for spells. Like one of the things that this game wanted to was very excited about, I remember, was specifically spell duels. Like basically you can, a wizard can use their own magic to effectively counter and fight another wizard's spells as well. So there's like a spell duel component, which I've never really dug into, but I'm really curious to see how that plays. But we'll get to where we are. Yeah, the spell duels are going to happen over here near this end, and we are not getting to those. We're already like about 10 minutes away from the end of tonight's stream, and we only looked at 2 character classes. Boy, certain things never change around here, do they? Do they? I guess let's look at the champion. I guess champion is our fighter originally. We'll see how far. I mean, I think we're gonna get to champion. Maybe we'll get to look at cleric before the stream is over, but I doubt it. Let's see here. Champions are weapon and armor specialists that push themselves to the limit in combat, able to master a wide variety of weapon types and learn their enemies as they fight them. The more they change, the more they stay the same, sir. Yep, that's true. It's true. Let's see here. Source of power. Champions train intensely to master all types of weapons and armor. They could be an outfitted in heavy armor or shield, swing a great sword with ease, or become a highly trained archer. So you start with a whole bunch of weapons and stuff. Okay, cool. Okay, combat. Champion martial mastery. So you have all weapons, all armor, or shields. You get all the maneuvers. You get a bunch of techniques. You spend stamina points. You spend stamina points because you're a martial class. Let's look at their abilities. Champion stamina. You regain 1 SP when you perform 1 or more maneuvers as part of an action, provided you don't spend SP as part of that action. Cool. So basically, it's encouraging you to not just do, all right, I hit it with my sword. It's like you want to do more. You want to do a power attack or an extend attack. or really like any maneuvers as part of an action. So it's not necessarily an attack. It can be a defense maneuver, like a raise, a grapple. Well, I don't know what a save maneuver is, but there they are, right? Do we have access to those maneuvers? They're all attack maneuvers. Maneuvers known on the class table. Maneuvers +4, +1, +1. That feels like less. So you start with all attack maneuvers, and then you get to pick 4 maneuvers additionally from these. Not techniques. Techniques are a different thing. If I'm not mistaken. Basically, you choose 4 maneuvers from defense, grapple, or save maneuvers. And then at level 5, you get to pick another one. At level 8, you get to pick another one. Okay. And eventually higher levels, more stuff. Interesting. So you'd have to spend some time learning these maneuvers. But what I like about it, what I like about this here is this champion stamina thing, right? Because your more powerful stuff is going to cost you SP. So by encouraging you to, like, for example, do a power attack, which doesn't cost you anything, it's something you have access to, or an extend attack, or etc. Basically, but by including maneuvers in your actions, you then spend, none of these cost you SP to do, you're gaining SP back. So there's a constant way to do things that is encouraging, and the way you regain that pool, which I like, because you have a pool of points that you need to spend to do your particularly cool stuff. Pretty standard, right? Approach to games. And you have a mechanic with which you can regain some of those points. Again, standard. But in my experience, most titter pigs make it so that the thing you have to do to regain points is less cool, right? It's like, oh, you can regain a stamina point by not attacking this round, or using the stamina regain or the catch breath action instead of the attack or whatever other useful action. So it ends up like in some way or form you have to like waste an action or waste a point or waste a resource or just whatever, waste a turn sometimes, in order to recover that currency that you use to power your abilities. DC20 here is telling you, no, the thing you can do to recover your pool, so you can do your abilities, is be more awesome. Don't hold back, but instead use your maneuvers, do cool shit, do different things other than just, I hit the dude with my sword. At the very least, go, I hit the dude with my sword really hard with power attack. And hey, at least I got an SP back as well. So like, you are rewarded for being awesome, and I, for one, appreciate that as an approach to how characters are handled here. I do like that a lot. So let's see, what else we got? What else you got for me? So champion stamina, then we got fight and spirit. You stand ready for combat at any moment, granting you the following benefits. You are ready for a fight. You are a constant crash out. Combat readiness. At the start of your first turn in combat, you gain one of the following benefits. Brace, you gain the benefits of the dodge action and advantage on the next save you make. Or advance, you gain the benefits of the move action and advantage on the next physical check you make. You have second wind once per combat when you start your turn bloodied. Bloodied, I believe, is basically when your hit points are at halfway point, I believe. We'll check. We'll see that in the rules eventually. You can regain 2 HP and 1 SP. Again, okay, cool. I like this. So basically, when a fight starts, you're the champion, you're the fighter, you're ready for it. You are ready to crash out at all times. So everybody else has, their first round is just their normal first round. But you as a fighter, that first turn, you're going to start with one of two options. Either brace, which means you are ready, you're going to have dodge, you're going to have free dodge, and the next save that you make, because you knew the dragon fire was coming or whatever, basically you braced for however this fight was going to be, you have better dodge and advantage on the next save. Or advance, you get to move for free. You are like the wind. Before the fight has even started, you are already there in the thick of it and ready for action. You get an advantage on the next physical check you make, and that's for free. It's just as soon as combat starts, you get one of those. Same thing with second wind. It's not something you spend or whatever. It's just once per combat. So every time there's a fight, if you start your turn bloodied once per fight, of course, it doesn't mean you go up and then go back down to bloodied and it kicks in again. But again, just every combat, if you go down to bloodied, you regain 2 HP, 1 SP. You gain your second wind. I like that. It's built in. It's simple, solid stuff for the champion. Master at Arms. Your training in warfare is granting you the following benefits. Weapon Master. The start of each of your turns, you can freely swap any weapon you're currently wielding in each hand for any other weapon. Cool. Free. Like no using an action or whatever, or bonus action or anything like that. You gain an additional 2 maneuvers of your choice. So at this point, you start with all the attack maneuvers. You gain +4 from level 1. And Master at Arms is also at level 1, so you gain then an additional 2 maneuvers, for a total of 6 maneuvers. And Technique Masters, then you earn 1 technique of your choice once per combat. When you perform a technique, you can reduce its SP cost by 1. So for example, this Sunder Armor technique, you spend 1 AP and 1 SP to make an attack check against a creature with damage reduction. You deal additional damage equal to the target's physical damage reduction value. The damage ignores the target's physical damage reduction. And then there's ways to enhance that by spending more SP. Armor Shred or Broken Armor. Okay, so these are really cool techniques. They're powerful techniques. They cost you SP. But once per combat, you can do it for free because of your Technique Master as a champion. So you see what we're doing here, right? We've got stuff that's like these are techniques that are going to be available. They're not specifically champion techniques, but as a champion, you're going to be able to do maybe a little bit more or get away with them for free, stuff like that. I like that. It is this sort of flexible system, and then your class allows you to do even more with this core system that is shared. I kind of dig that. And then Know Your Enemy is a flavor feature. You can spend 1 minute observing a creature out of combat, or spend 1 action point in combat, and you can learn one of its stats by making a DC10 knowledge or insight check, and you learn if that stat is higher, lower, or the same. Interesting. Again, flavor feature. And finally, level 2 class features. When you roll for initiative, and at the end of each of your turns, you gain a D8 tactical die if you don't already have one. You spend a tactical die to gain one of the following techniques. Assault, when you make a martial attack, you need a die to attack's results, or deflect when you are attacking and subtract the die from the attack's result. Very cool. Adaptive tactics every round. No, when you roll initiative and at the end of each of your turns, so every turn, you gain one of these. That's very cool. That's just a level 2 already. Again, you are a tactical fighter. You can adapt as needed. You have this extra D8 that's going to let you either get an attack better or deflect an attack. I like that. It makes the champion rather, cool, flexible. I like what they're doing here. I think it's got some good ideas. It makes it so the champion is constantly looking through their various maneuvers and doing cool, different stuff to gain their points back so they can do more cool, bigger attacks and techniques. I feel like this is gonna flow well. I like what they're doing with the champion / fighter. Which is a good sign, because usually the default fighter is the most boring class, and this seems solid. This seems like it would be really interesting, really hands-on, really active to kind of play out, especially in combat with all the different things you can do and the way the game sort of encourages you to do them. I like the approach that it's taking there. With that said, I'm going to go back here to the intro screen because it's time to wrap up. Again, these evening streams are going to be a lot shorter. And we'll see. Again, it looks like I will be back on Thursday. And so next Thursday, 7:30 to 8:30, or sorry, 7:30 to 9:30. Today was more like 7:45 to 9:45 because I had tech issues to start with, because of course I did. But we're gonna keep these streams short because also just it's night and I want to relax. And it's only probably going to be twice a week because I have a job now and I need to rest and I want time for myself as well, right? So as these streams are no longer my job, they will now be shorter. So we'll start, they're going to be vibe streams. I'm still going to try and talk more about tabletop RPGs, but also I'm going to take it a little bit less seriously because I'm not trying to make a living off it now. I wasn't really making a living off it before, but it was something to do. It brought in a little bit of cash. So now there's going to be a more lighthearted, more chill. It's only going to be a couple hours. I do hope that the shorter time frame will help me keep things a little bit more focused around here. But as we saw with today's stream, no guarantees. Wasn't exactly super focused. Anyway, hopefully by Thursday I will have the official DC20 PDF and we can actually look at it a little bit more closely, a little bit better. Because I would want to play with it. I do, at the end of the day, I really do want to run a DC20 game, probably for Fandible at some point, but also just potentially for other people. We'll see. But I am very interested in it, and I still do want to. I want to see how it feels. And I want to look at all the subclasses because I saw, this is my cat, by the way, she's up here. I saw some of the streams where they created them, and I think they are going to be fun to go through. So we'll do some of that. But yes, exactly, struggle, but as you say, self-care is important, and just being able to just, rest after work, because I am going to be gainfully employed, and that will be work. And while I'm hoping this will be a soft boy job, because I do want to maintain my soft weeaboo lifestyle. All right, as Cake once sang, I believe, how do you maintain your weeaboo lifestyle? Well, it's through an IT job. That's how I maintain my weeaboo lifestyle. Oh, hey, Eagle D20 over on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. You too, get some rest whenever you go to bed. Or if you're going to continue slapping listeners around, enjoy that. I will hopefully be back next Thursday, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. That is, as of right now, going to be the new streaming schedule until things shake out and I see what I can actually safely deliver. Or certainly, not safely, consistently deliver to you, my dear viewers. I was going to say fans, but no, viewers. Viewers sounds better. So as of right now, it's probably going to be Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. And we'll go from there. And we'll see what it takes, what it brings us, and how any other days greet us. But this was fun. It's been a while since I'd streamed. It's nice to get back into it a little bit, and we'll go from there. I'll keep y'all in the loop on how things proceed with the new job and everything else. No worries. Take care of yourself. No need to push super hard. No worries. No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's probably gonna be just 2 days a week for a couple hours, and we'll see where it goes from there. At the end of the day, I will say this. Okay, first of all, hopefully this new job, the vibes are good. It's not a super corporate job. It's not going back to like hedge funds and finance bros, right? This is a small company with like mom and pop shop and nonprofit clients. It is a much chiller vibe overall, I think. And I am hoping that it will be a soft boy job for the softest of all boys, that being me. But with that in mind, with that said, like, also the pay is good enough that this is the dream. Like, I do not dream of labor, but within that, this is basically as good as it's gonna get for me. Like, this is like, I'm making more than enough money to live very comfortably. It should be more than enough to get out to a couple of cons a year, I hope. And I know I can rebuild my savings, etc., etc. It's a 9 to 5 solid, doesn't require like weekend work or evening work. There's an on-call component, but it's like twice a year. Just overall, good stuff. It's a solid job, it looks like, and I'm hoping that means that I will be able to, in my spare time, do more creative things. So even though I am reducing the amount of streams, I am hoping that long term this is going to be good, right? Look, I wrote 3 Goblins when I was super employed, when I was working 12-hour days. All right. Once you're no longer worried about where rent is coming from, that frees up a few brain cycles for other stuff. So keep an eye on things. Keep an eye on things. As always, for anybody who is not following me on my socials, please do. I've just put them up on chat as well on the Twitch. For the YouTube folks, it's just Eagle D20, and you know where to find me, buddy. But anyway, with that, finally, calling it a stream. Thanks so much for hanging out. Love y'all. See y'all hopefully on Thursday. Take care and have an absolutely wonderful time zone wherever you may be. Farewell.